or with the square root of -1 or something like that. So habit, rather than law, has the curious effect of invigorating the universe and making it not something static, like a piece of furniture, or as Newton imagined it, a divine clock, a machine built by God and then set going to the last tick of eternity. But if habit is to replace law, then the universe is more like an organism. It's more like a creature. It learns. It gains experience. As it matures, it changes its strategy. As it expands its experience, it gains new domains of emergent subtlety. And this is, in fact, what we see. I mean, we see that the universe began as a plasma of free electrons, and then there was a period of astrophysical condensation, stars and planets, and then a period of nuclear chemistry ruled the universe as stars aggregated.
Is that not law?
Well, the point I'm making, see, is that it progressed from one phenomenon to another. It didn't remain static. Apparently, each episode of becoming, rather than stabilizing itself like a machine would, it actually becomes the foundation for some completely new phenomena.
And that's what you call habit?
Well, as opposed to law. See, I think law allows freedom, because freedom means you go outside of law, but law doesn't allow novelty. Exactly. That's a slightly different concept. So if you take seriously this idea that the concept of law can be replaced by the idea of habit, then suddenly you're not in a Newtonian machine, a soulless cuckoo clock of natural laws. What you're inside is an organism. And since you are an organism, there is suddenly an enormous dimension for empathy. You can understand then, I feel, I strive, I know hope and disappointment, and I can therefore transfer these qualities to the dynamic of the world around me. And this is very important. Again, recall that what we're talking about is why one paradigm replaces another. This is very important for us as a species to get in contact with what we've done to the planet. If the planet is a thing, you can basically use it. If it's an organism, then you must relate to it the way you would relate, to another person, or at least to a fine animal or something like that.
Can I ask the question, how would you
Sure.
suggest I would go from a law, looking through the paradigm of law, into the paradigm of habit, and how I'm seeing and experiencing the world? What would you suggest in my perceptual approach to the world around me?
Okay, well, that's next.
Okay.
And this is probably the most controversial part of all this. It was very important when this when this freedom and law dichotomy was set up. Every paradigm has a hidden or secret agenda. And what lies behind this freedom and law thing is Christian ethics. It's very important in Christian ethics, other than some fairly minor and screwball variants, to maintain the idea of human freedom. Because man cannot fall and be redeemed without the dimension of human freedom. And the dimension of human freedom is a precondition for guilt. Only the free can be guilty, because only the free are responsible for what they do. After all, if the universe is a determinism, then you do what you do because you couldn't do anything else. And so to expect you to take responsibility for that is a little weird. So it was very important to establish the idea of human freedom. And all our political systems are built on various adumbrations of this concept of freedom. Habit and novelty is a shift slightly east on this issue. There's a lot less freedom in the habit and novelty equation, and there's a lot less responsibility. And responsibility, Hui Po Yang, the 9th century Chinese alchemist, said worry is preposterous. Worry is preposterous. And then the exegesis explains that in order to worry, you have to know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, worry is an absurd. It's like someone who knows nothing about automobiles worrying that their car may break down. It's immaterial. So, freedom is a very touchy subject, and I offer this in an exploratory manner. There are very respectable orthodox positions which would tell you that the creation of the ideal of human freedom and the way in which it has been enshrined and defended in Western political institutions is the crowning achievement of the civilization. The problem is, it has a curious relationship to two other important power concentrations: the community and the ego. Where does freedom lie in that spectrum? When we say, if you are a Jeffersonian Democrat, a materialist, a paid-up member of the Democratic Party, and you say you are free, do you mean you are free to do whatever you want to do? Or do you mean you are free to participate in the general will of the community? This is not a closed issue. Over the centuries, the answer to that question has shifted. The 19th century, in America, based on the exposure to frontier hardship and that sort of thing, was much more about the freedom of the community to do what it wanted to do. In the 20th century, consumerism and the disappearing of frontiers and the rise of populations and the packing of populations very tightly freedom has tended to mean the right to gratify the whims of the ego. And this has led to a whole bunch of anti-communal attitudes and phenomena. Class struggle, consumerism, manufacture of useless and soon-to-be obsolete objects, people trapped in a rat race of media-propagated needs and low salary and, the rat race. So, the thing from the very beginning that has always puzzled me when people talk about the future was there's a general agreement that it's going to be more collective. That, we talk in terms of the internet, we talk in terms of boundary dissolution, community, and yet the great metaphor for collectivism is now in ruins, Marxism. It's finished. And so there is no countervailing force